Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I have Kendra Havens here with me. Kendra, thank you so much for being the first Women in Tech series participant.
Happy to be here. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. So I am a product manager at UiPath. I joined really recently. It's only been 4 months, I think, yesterday that I've been at UiPath. And then before that, I worked at Microsoft for 5.5 years on the .NET team and all about developer experiences and giving lots of demos. I have a series on YouTube on getting started with .NET and C# that a lot of you might recognize me in if you're a .NET person. I might have a familiar face. I'm very famous in very specific circles.
We love it. And we'll link your channel in the description of this video.
Sure, yeah. Thanks.
Yes, of course. Okay, so we're here to talk about a very specific topic. Being a woman in tech, as you know, like this is something that's near and dear to our hearts. Both of us being a woman in tech for quite a few years now. And we have already kind of talked about this before. So everyone, Kendra and I do have some inside jokes that may or may not come up. But we did select some questions and I think we'll just jump into it if that's okay.
Let's do it.
Beautiful. Okay, so let's start with very obvious things. Appearance. Tell me, do you ever change the way you look, change the way you dress, maybe tone your makeup down? And did you ever get any comments about it?
Absolutely. So I was a terrified college grad, like 5.5 years, almost 6 years ago, when I joined. And there was lots of stuff where I felt like I needed to hide my weirdness. And slowly over time, I've discovered that people like it more when you're weird. Actually, like creating a little bit of strangeness. It's actually shown to make people feel more comfortable from all kinds of backgrounds. If you're like, so I have dyed hair, it's pink, kind of, if it shows up.
Oh, yeah, got it.
But like wearing our Star Wars t-shirts and letting your personality show makes people realize that it's okay to be diverse. It's okay to not show up in like your button-down collared shirts and everyone pretends they're a professional and not a human. It creates a more relatable atmosphere. And there's lots of studies that kind of show it's easier to have more technical discussions and softer communication and exploratory communication, which is really good for design. If people feel like they can be themselves and ask questions and be vulnerable, and a lot of that means showing who you are and not having your guard up or like a mask on when you come to work. And I say that now, but it took me 5 years to get there. So if people feel like they have to put on their human suit in the morning, that makes sense. So I'm not saying I don't still feel that way a lot of the time, but just hear it as like encouragement to do that. And I think your other question was, how do people react to like just normal things? So I have had coworkers with absolutely comments that made me feel uncomfortable. One of the coworkers had to comment anytime I did anything differently with my hair, like, you have a pink clip today, was literal comments that I would get anytime I changed anything. And it does make you feel weird and it puts you on the spot, and you're already on the spot because you're already walking into an office that is majority male and not just like 60% male, like 90% male. In a lot of cases, and if that, sometimes 95, sometimes 99. It's weird out there. So it can make you feel more on the spot, but I think I react with empathy in a lot of things, and sometimes it was just the way of those people dealing with new changes in the environment, and unfortunately women were one of them. If a woman came in, that was their environment changing, and something in their brain needed to recognize that. And I don't think they were trying to put me on the spot, even though it's an unfortunate outcome and everything. So I didn't discount these people. Actually, some of them became some of my best friends and were genuinely invested in seeing me succeed in my career and wouldn't have tried to like, they weren't trying to throw me off or make me feel weird, or unwelcome or different or othered. But it happens. It's more like, how do we work through it? And I don't mean to excuse them either. It's just, how do we work with it based on where all of us are coming from neurodiversically, you know?
Yeah. So lesson learned, friends. Don't tell someone they look tired one day if
Yes.
they're wearing makeup.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. I got some of that. I'd be like, thanks.
Oh, no. My favorite is, are you okay? Are you sick? You look so tired.
Just the mascara.
Just didn't put makeup on today.
Oh my gosh, that's a good one. Yes, right? I have those.
Oh, all the time. I gave up on wearing makeup most of the time because of it, because it's just so much effort. I thought I'd rather just surprise them on the off days I do wear it.
Yeah. Instead, they're like noticing a delta on your sad days. You rather have like normal, super cute day, normal, instead of super cute. And then like, oh, are you dying?
Yes.
It's the delta you want to manage. It's crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. The makeup comments are definitely like such a downer, right? Because you look fine, or you feel like you look fine, but everyone else thinks that you look sick.
Yeah.
It's just another thing to think about.
The bar is in two different places.
Right. No kidding. No kidding. But speaking of appearances and how you look, do you feel like you ever got asked to go somewhere or do something specifically because of the way you look and maybe kind of became, a token?
Yes, absolutely. So especially when I first joined, I was flooded with asks to go and speak places. So some of this would be like conferences and stuff. Some of it would be on technology I wasn't at all familiar with or even related to. Like it was outside, and that is because they really wanted, they were experiencing pressure. Microsoft and a lot of conferences in the .NET space or Azure space or cloud deployment or distributed systems, they have conferences should be pressuring themselves to have a diverse speaker panel. And they want to find people really badly. And that's really good, but it can be a lot to take on if you become that person. And it can be hard to have that super like high challenge as well if you're kind of representing all of that and it's outside of your wheelhouse anyway. So it can be hard. So everything, all of these questions are kind of like, it's a double-edged sword. It's good to have visibility. It's good that companies are fighting for that, but it's also easy for people to say, that's just a token speaker. I'm not going to go to her talk. And it's also possible that people are like, wow, I'm going to go to her talk. That sounds good. Like, finally, I want to hear what she has to say about .NET. And so you see both sides of it. But
right. It's funny, you said something about representing. I want to dig into that. So tell me more about feeling like a representative token, I guess, and like the ramifications of that.
Yeah. So something I want to bring up is the sort of what all minorities might experience. We experience it a lot in tech because we're women, but this is really popularly experienced with African Americans in tech or anything. There's pressure when you're a minority because everything you do, whether good or bad, is being held up as an example for the minority. So like if I have this pressure where if I fail a talk or was unprepared for a meeting or something, and I'm the only woman that those people saw at that conference or talked to that day, I might be, enabling them to like kind of have this sexist experience down the road. And like I confirmed part of their bias or something, just because you're the only representation that they've seen. So instead of thinking like, that guy wasn't prepared, he must have just had an off day, it's, that woman wasn't prepared, women aren't cut out for this. Like, and it can be, obviously those are really harsh internal thoughts and judgments, but you don't want to enable that. So you put pressure on yourself to be perfect and to be that, I think they call it like exemplary minority
Yeah.
to do that. And it's a great deal of challenge and pressure to fight for it and live up to that.
Do you feel that on a day-to-day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's better days and worse days, and it depends on who I'm talking with too. If I'm really comfortable in the circle or community that I'm reaching, or this user group is awesome and I've talked with them in the past, like, you know, you feel less on the spot, especially if there's more women in the meeting and stuff, then you know that you're not alone, you know, you're not the only minority representation. But yeah, it depends. If you have people cutting you off in meetings, or your conference is rescheduled last minute to a smaller room and people don't like, it depends on what vibe you're getting in every situation.
I get that. Do you ever get that vibe when you're talking to male executives where you feel like you kind of get cut off or maybe not taken as seriously?
Actually, like, so far the executives I would speak with at my companies, so like Microsoft and UiPath, they rock, and I'm so relieved that it's actually the only reason I would have come work at UiPath was if I had a good perception of the culture. And I didn't, and I still had a pretty good perception of the culture at Microsoft too. So I felt really, really lucky to have these companies in my life, and these people that I got to work with and demo for. And I would be a code monkey and come up on stage for a lot of them. And we would do keynotes together and stuff. And honestly, but it feels like a risk too, because every time you interact with that person, you're like, it's really important that they get this part right of their whole culture and how greatly that can impact people down the road.
And you know, that kind of brings me to my next question of like the way you act in the office or maybe with your colleagues. Do you ever feel like you like are constantly watching what you do to make sure that it doesn't come off as like flirtatious?
Absolutely. So I'm a huge geek for technology, and I can be effusively excited about it. And I don't want people to misinterpret that as like really excited about talking. I don't know, like,
but not to them, just about the technology.
I'm excited about the system and the solutions that we can figure out and the impact that it'll have on millions of people. Like, there's so many things to be excited about with what is possible today that wasn't 5 years ago. And anyway, so I'm a passionate person about that. And I'm also like a public speaking figure. So people will ask for interviews and conferences and just grabbing coffee and learning. And it's a huge waste of my time if you don't just want to talk about, like, if you're actually trying to get a date or that kind of thing, and you're not keeping it professional. And one thing I want to add is like, that slows me down. It's a waste of my time because that's not what I'm looking for. If that's the only reason that they ask for that interaction. So like male allies could really be aware that there's a problem. If you think about this in database terms of a one-to-many relationship with people who want that kind of interaction that won't broaden our careers, and it's slowing down like how many people and networks I can create in a day that are actually going to be useful and pay off down the road. And I think keeping that in mind in a professional setting before they approach people and asking themselves if they have like a genuine interest in the technology, or are they hiding that because they just want to get to know this person. Don't do that. Just remember that might have happened to that person dozens of times, and it's wasting her time. Don't be another one who's doing that. So it's cautionary tale.
Yeah. Oh, I've been there. I've gotten quite a few messages on LinkedIn that at first seemed so exciting of like, let's broaden your network. Maybe, we have learning opportunities and
you're like, yeah, demos, we'll get together.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And then it ends up, oh gosh, I once, somebody sent me a still frame screen capture of a GIF of a teddy bear on Valentine's Day. But they captured it while the teddy bear's eyes were closed. So it was one of the creepiest messages I've ever gotten. And it said, Happy Valentine's Day, screen capture of this GIF. and some roses. And I was like, okay, we're just gonna block you
Yeah.
now. LinkedIn isn't a dating service.
So do you have a scrapbook of weird tech interactions? Because I started taking screenshots of these just because like it's amazing at the volume that they happen at and how strange it is. So someone did ask me out on Skype for business, which in the name they should have known for business. Not gonna be, I'm at business, I'm trying to do business. It's not, it was weird.
Oh my goodness.
It was really strange. This was back in 2016 probably. So I don't know. It's just such a strange, arbitrary, like corporate place to it was not a vibe.
That is not okay, but wow. And you know, the sad thing is, I guarantee if you ask 5 other women, they're gonna have different stories of the same flavor.
Yes, absolutely. I'm excited to watch the rest of your series.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm actually
people
gonna add a question now to my list, which is, what is the strangest form of professional communication that someone has attempted to leverage as a dating service with you?
I like that. That'll be amazing.
It's going on the list.
I got asked out in a Git commit one time. I had to review their PR. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Loved so we'd go through and delete weird comments on YouTube videos, and I have a ton of YouTube videos of demoing stuff over the past like many years and stuff, so you can find strange like young Kendra like talking about Visual Studio for Mac and wearing beards, and I do fun stuff because it was a Linux tutorial at the time. And man, the comments that you can accumulate, especially when people think that YouTube is like a place where it's okay to leave like trash comments that won't reflect on them professionally. I just still get really confused that they decide this is associated with their name, this is where they're going to air that kind of feedback.
Yeah, on a professional channel too.
Yeah, like it's still the internet. Like if they tweet it, like where are the divisions in their brain? Would they tweet about this, or would they like they wouldn't tweet about it because that's too much of their quote, but they would comment about like my physical appearance and just be really, it was just really so I screenshot them and then we delete those comments.
Yes,
perfect.
As you should. That is extremely uncomfortable.
Save for laughs, but delete from history.
Delete from history. Men.
Maybe that's why they feel safe to say.
Yeah. I think this is a general ask to men out there. Please stop doing this.
Yeah, like just being regular people. Like don't comment something that you wouldn't say to someone's face. Like if it'd be really unprofessional to say that out loud, or like with your mom in the room, maybe don't. Some people are just trying to do their jobs on the internet.
Also, how would you feel if we commented on your videos talking about your appearance?
In weird ways that you don't enjoy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here you go. What if we made you feel creeped on every time we commented on your videos? Probably wouldn't feel so good.